Good afternoon, I'm Bill Anderson, coming live from the Costa del Sol, and actually we're doing an outside broadcast today, so you may hear some noise going on in the background. I am delighted to be joined again by my good friend Hansi Støkken of the Conrisa Cafe and Gastrobar. Hansi, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. A pleasure as always.
Right, Hansi, we're going to talk about some serious stuff today.
Oh, God.
I would just have to say that we are sort of cooling down here. It's about 25 degrees outside with a glass of beer.
In the shades.
In the shade.
That's it, exactly.
Yeah.
So we stay out of the sun, actually.
So, Hansi, we're coming from Conrisa.
Yes.
But Conrisa 2.0.
Yeah.
Why? You were right in the centre of La Cala. Tell us why you've moved, Hansi.
Well, maybe the short version would be karma.
Karma.
Well, always circumstances, Bill. We were happy we were there. We were there for 8 years, and it wasn't really a question of wanting to find another place, but one thing led to another, and we did have an option of buying the place, but La Cala has become very popular, for good for bad, and the bad about it is that prices have increased a lot over the last few years. So we found the purchase price for the place being too high. One thing is being able to pay for it. Another thing, it has to be profitable. So you will have to make your calculations and see if it's worth it. So I think that was the reason why we started to look for another place. And by all means, we're very happy where we are now. It's in one way obviously a fresh start for us. We hope you're lucky to get. Not saying all, because La Cala, and there's a lot of urbanizations around it, and obviously if people walk in, it's going to be a long walk to come where we are now. But after 8 years, obviously we have certain clientele, and we believe some of them will follow us.
Sure.
Yeah,
especially for your wine tastings, Hansi.
Especially for our wine tastings. We actually did that on Saturday. That was a grand opening. I always had a fight with the chef, as you know, because where we were, the kitchen wasn't that big, so we had top number was 35 persons, and when she came in here and looked at the kitchen and said it's twice as big, and I said, great, now we can do 70 on wine tastings.
I guess she was really pleased to hear that. Yes.
Well, actually we were 40, and she'd gone down a bit, but we probably can do 60, which would be great. As you can see, not so easy to see on radio, but it's 2 huge terraces. It's lots of space outside. It's a very tranquil area. It's not first line beach. We went there in La Cala either. But like I said, it's a fresh start and a lot of urbanizations around. So we'll hope to get some new clients as well. Yeah,
you're a little bit closer to our neighbouring town of Fuengirola here.
Yeah.
But there's actually a massive amount of apartments in this area.
Yeah.
And this is probably a slightly quieter time because it's in between Easter and summer. But once these start to fill up, either with the owners coming out to spend their summer or holidaymakers coming out, I think you could find yourself really busy.
Well, I will tell you in December, but I hope so too. And where we were situated in La Cala, it's strange how human nature is, because we were just like only 100 meters from like the main avenue or boulevard, which was always busy even in the summer. But we were kind of a bit hidden there in the back. And we might be here as well. But like you say, you come maybe home from the beach, you want to go for a beer or just small snack tapa. We'll see. But luckily we do other businesses as well. So we are prepared, to hang in there, which we did in the other place. You don't make money from day one. It's not what you're supposed to believe. Some people might do that, but that's just in the movies.
I think it's being very ambitious for any new business. Not that Conrisa is new, because you actually have a clientele already. But for a new business, the idea that you start making money from the day you open the doors is not very realistic, is it?
No, and I think people ask me, why did you open a restaurant? And I said, well, I guess we've all seen these movies. For instance, I love Cocktails with Tom Cruise and Elizabeth Shue.
Yeah.
Especially I like Elizabeth Shue, of course. and you just it's like a dream, but when that dream becomes reality, you understand what it's all about.
Yeah.
And usually they say that you have to calculate somewhere between 3 and 5 years before you actually can expect
Right.
to make any money, as you start from scratch. Saying, I mean, obviously, if you take over a business and you that is running well and you just follow the same old recipes,
Yeah.
but if you start in your own concept, it takes time, and I think people have to be aware of that.
Yeah.
So
But I think it's worthwhile saying we're going to talk a little bit about the economics
Yeah.
of this sector, the hospitality sector, Hansi. But you didn't set up Conrisa as your sole business, did you? You have a number of businesses under the Conrisa label.
yes,
Yeah.
that's correct. I mean, I my chef will probably kill me, but it's like my restaurant part of it is like a hobby. Obviously, for her, it's a serious business. But
Yeah.
what brings bread on the table is the real estate, construction. You buy something, everything that comes with it, we will help you out. Paperwork, you want internet, you want television, and so on. So that's like carrying us. While just before COVID, I would say we were about to start make money where we were before in La Cala. The good thing is we've been through this before, so we know what expectations we can have.
Right.
We're not starting from scratch, but it's not going to be a walk in the park. We know that, and it takes a lot of publicity. Probably many of these people living around here doesn't know that we have open, and they're not aware what we can offer them.
Sure.
So it's hard work,
Yeah.
but we enjoy it.
Yeah.
You see the sides to it that we enjoy, but it doesn't mean that it's easy.
No. Listen, Hansi, I think it would be good for people who are listening to actually to give them a concept of, and I'm thinking of La Cala in particular, the actual costs of running a business. But I've said that the owner of the premises that you had wanted to sell. I mean, they're asking for a lot of money for it, a lot of money. But there are also a lot of empty locales, and one that keeps changing hands, but which is a restaurant as well. And they're asking around what, 6,000 a month
Yes.
for rent.
Correct. And I mean, it's what everyone should do before you sit down and decide whether to take over a place or start a business. Obviously, is to make your numbers and like you say, that place, for instance, 6,000 euros just for the rent, and then that in Spain there is something called IRPF, which is a tax you pay on top of that
Yeah.
every 3 months, but it's still 21%. So basically, per month they were paying 8,000 euros for the rent.
Just for the rent.
Just for the rent.
And that's before they have one bum on a seat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And whatever you sell, if it's coffees, you got to sell a lot of coffee to justify that.
Sure.
Then you have salaries, and everybody needs money for work. It's not a question of that. But the tax levels, the contracts, the costs of them are quite high.
Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons why because it's it's just a fact. Many people are getting paid half in B and half in contract and whatsoever. And I think one of the reasons is that it's quite expensive to employ people. I always say that you should calculate maybe before 45 and 50% on top of the salaries,
Right.
monthly fees, which is quite a lot. I'm not saying that other countries not have the same, but for a country that the salaries aren't that high, but still you have to pay another 50% on top.
Right.
So it might sound a bit strange, but still it works out a lot of your monthly cost, because obviously what we sell, have a product, if there are beverages or food or whatever, it's not the same price level either as any other country.
Right.
So if you take running costs, so to speaking, like rent, employees, electricity, which is not only in Spain, but if you take the percentage of what people make and what you have to pay, I find it being a lot.
Right. Yeah, I think every country has its own little sort of idiosyncrasies, Hansi, doesn't it? But employing people in Spain is quite expensive. And the other thing that people might not be aware is that although you have a proper company set up, that company can't employ you. You have to be self-employed.
That's right.
And that has maybe positive aspects and negative aspects to it, doesn't it?
Well, it does, but you kind of being forced to pay for your own social security because you can't be an employee of your own company.
Uh-huh.
The good side to it is if you by doing that, obviously you can invoice also in your own name because you are self-employed. But it doesn't make sense in terms of I have to send my company an invoice as a consultant. I can do that.
Right.
But I can't have a working contract with my own company.
Right. Yeah, because I had businesses in the UK which were limited companies. And the first thing that we did with that was I became the first employee of the company. And the other downside of it is that the way this works, that basically everybody gets paid. If you're renting a locale, the owners get paid, the tax department gets paid, the staff get paid, the suppliers get paid, and then you have to wait at the end of the month to see if there's anything left over to pay you, who owns the actual business. And in the hospitality sector, that's not always easy, is it?
No. I always say that I'm an ex-military, and running a business like a restaurant, I think is the only thing you can compare with that, because you know what's going to come up today or tomorrow. Maybe 2 people come in, maybe 100 people come in. So it's very hard, you know, to unless your business is running extremely well, especially when you in the beginning when you start up, you don't really know. So it's hard to get all your finances sorted out, because, like I said initially, you will have to have some extra funds.
Yes.
From the very beginning, because if not, it will be very harsh. It will be very, very difficult.
And let's be honest, Hansi, you know, if people have the level of funds to keep them going for 2 or 3 years until the business starts to make money, you've got to ask, why bother set up the business?
Well, many colors, maybe white.
Yeah. So, it's not that easy, is it, to set up businesses and to actually make a living out of them, Hansi?
I don't think it's necessarily easy in any country. It takes a lot of, work. But I think what I found maybe hard from where I come from, Norway, is that you try to get all this information to find out how it works and what you need to do. And at the end of the day, it wasn't that way after all. There's something changed. So you weren't told it right. Like I always say,
right.
if you want a true answer, you have to ask 5 different people working with the same. The problem is you probably get 5 different answers.
Listen, we have some people that we know who are in business. It's a professional business, and they were doing everything by the book, everything. It's a couple, so that they don't have other employees or whatever. And they went to see their accountant, and the accountant actually said to them, listen, if you keep doing everything by the book, you're going to lose money. You're going to have to start to work in the black. This is the accountant talking to them. And it's like they just couldn't get their head around this, because they'd been in business in the UK, and we're used to just doing things the right way. And it's like, what do you mean we have to start doing things in the black? Get people to pay in cash, and that goes under the counter, and you don't. And when accountants are advising that sort of thing, you've got to understand that being in business is really not that easy.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's not. But it's like a friend of mine says, he has a friend that he says he's so proper. So he follows the script even if it blows out the window.
All right.
So I think it's the whole system. As you know, we how should we say, the division between different units. Like you got the town hall, you got the province, you got the region, and you got the country. And then every town hall has their way of doing things. So it's when people come to me and ask for advice, maybe I can tell them, okay, I'm in Mijas, I have a certain idea what's going on, but you can go to Estepona, to Marbella, to Fuengirola, and it will be treated differently.
Yes.
So, and I don't want to be hanged later on because I said something. So, but it's sometimes you feel that when you go someplace, public office or whatever, they don't not necessarily know themselves that good how it's supposed to be. And I think that, like in many other cases, one thing is theory, another thing is practice, which means that, okay, theoretically this is the way you should do it, but it doesn't work in real life.
Yeah, it is a difficult one. Listen, I as a local politician here, well, at least until the 28th of May, we need to see what happens in the elections. I have the probably the nicest part of my job is that I can conduct weddings, and I actually did one last Saturday in a beautiful hotel, just a little bit inland in Alorina Grande. And we stayed for the meal afterwards, and we were talking to the people around the table, and it was very interesting. And this couple, Matt and Jack, working in Abu Dhabi, both professional people,
Right.
we're saying, our dream is to come and open a bar in Spain. What would your advice be, Hansi?
Oh, God. Check your account first. Well, you should never kill a dream. It's important, I'm a big dreamer as well, but like I said, you just have to understand that some dreams are probably easier to follow than others.
Yeah.
And running a business in Spain, I think any business, not only the restaurant business, is just different from what we're used to. So, when you're in Rome, do like the Romans, it's not a question of that. But obviously, we find it different, and we find it sometimes not being so efficient. So I just think you have to prepare yourself to be patient. It's going to take time. Everything has to be in place, licenses, all the administrative parts. It's not easy. It doesn't mean it's impossible.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. So don't kill anyone's dreams. But I think they maybe should sit down with someone and share their dream.
Yeah.
And you have kind of a sketch and maybe carry that dream to someone that can advise them and tell them that, okay, after what you're telling me, blah, blah, blah. And then you have an idea how it will be to realize that dream. And you might change your opinion or you keep going forward, but then knowing the facts.
So are you available for consultancy work, Hansi?
I am, but very expensive. I usually work in the weekends because then I can charge the double.
Sundays it's triple.
Topoli.
Yeah.
Topoli.
Yeah. No, I think for as long as I can ever remember, even before I actually moved and lived in Spain, I can remember people talking about, I want to go and open a bar in Spain. And probably in the right place in the summer, anybody can make money. But whether or not that will be enough to sustain them through a whole year is another story, isn't it?
It is. And another thing, I also think things have changed in the last 20 years. I mean, when we opened up in La Cala, we were there for 8 years. At the time, when we took it over, it used to be offices. So obviously we had to change all that into, all the rules and regulations that came by opening a restaurant. And I was actually quite surprised, but in a positive sense, because they had it all,
A list.
lined out, like soundproofing. What do I need that for? So they came actually I paid a guy, I think €700 to come there and check, would our music disturb the neighbors? And I said, I don't think it will, but absolutely my neighbor's music disturbs us. So he's like, what does it help if I do my soundproofing? Yeah. But this is what happens when you take over any premises, a restaurant, you have a license. In Norway, probably in Scotland as well, you will have a license to be able to serve alcohol, which is not the case in Spain. Basically, you just need a license to run a restaurant.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So on the alcohol front, basically you can open your garage and sell alcohol from the garage door.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can, yeah, true. So when I'd gone through all those things and I had to do everything, I had to do a ramp, prepare the toilets for anything from people in wheelchairs and whatsoever. And of course you do that, and that's no question about that. But then you can go into other restaurants that are extremely busy. They've been there for 40 years, and you go into the toilet, and it looks like, "Ugh." And you think, why? But then I understood that, because if they want to do any refurbishment or any renovation, they will have to pick up on the standards that is today's standards, which probably mean they have to do the same. So they just leave it the way it is.
Listen, Hansi, Vicky and I some time ago, I'm not even going to mention the name of the town, but it's a small town inland Spain. We went to visit some people that we know there, and they said, "Oh, let's go up to the town square for some tapas." Mm-hmm. It's great,
Absolutely.
Very Spanish and whatever. Now, we've been traveling for about 2 hours, so it's like, yeah, that would be great. Get into this cafe or bar, really, but they sold food as well. And of course, my first thing was visit to the toilets. Big mistake. Because as I opened the door, the first thing was the smell hit me. And then I looked, and there was no toilet in it. It was still a hole in the ground with 2 foot marks. And then I don't know if I should describe any more, but it was like, and we had friends that had been opening restaurants down here, and they were made to jump through a lot of hoops. They were saying, for example, you need to have a foot control for the water in the kitchen, and you need to have this and this and this, and you need to do this and this and this. And I'm thinking of this little Spanish bar I went into with a heap of toilet paper thrown in the corner. You can imagine what that was like. And men are not very good at aiming into WCs. So you can imagine, I came out paddling. It was horrible.
So you went to McDonald's later?
Oh God, I tell you, I would have been tempted to. And then we sat down and said, "What would you like to eat?" And I'm going, I don't know.
Just have a drink.
I don't know if I can manage anything. Just have a drink, exactly. But that explains why.
Yeah.
They probably haven't done anything to those premises in the last 60 years.
And they leave it that way, because if they were to do anything, they will have to get a proper building license from the town hall, and they have to upgrade everything
and then
to
they
today's
start to
standard.
ask questions, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I have to say, we're very fortunate down here on the coast, because, most of the places are, when I say new, they might have
Fairly
been here
fresh.
40 years.
Yeah.
But they've been subject to at least the basic new regulations for building and hygiene and all that kind of stuff, yeah?
Yeah. Which you can say things are, right or wrong, but maybe there should be something in between. Okay, we'd still like to, take that hole in the ground away and just put a toilet there. I think the town hall should accept that. So maybe they should put, it's. I always say that in Norway we have this phrase saying that no rule without an exception.
Yes.
And I say down in Spain, there are just exceptional rules.
I'm going to say something quite controversial here, that I think there are fewer exceptions for foreigners who have businesses than there are for Spaniards who have businesses. Maybe that sounds very controversial. Maybe
No,
even
it doesn't
sounds
to me,
racist,
and I believe
but-
that, and I think I've seen that with my own eyes. I mean, we were like, that we were kind of targeted during COVID and all that. Which of course is wrong, and not bear in mind that, I mean, we pay for, we pay their salaries, and that's what I love about this coast, as we spoken about before. I mean, we have maybe how many 150, 60 nationalities living down here. We live peacefully among us, and sometimes I feel that the ones that have bigger problem with tourism is actually the authorities. And that's a bit weird, because actually we are the ones that are supplying them and kind of feeding them. Yeah,
well, in Mijas alone, we have a population, it's growing by the day, but we have around 93,000 people in Mijas. You don't notice it. It's not like a small town, because we're scattered over 150 square kilometers. But We have about 125 nationalities in Mijas alone.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Amazing.
it's not that we're a minority. We actually make up a third of the population down here.
Exactly.
I'm saying we because we're both Guineas, we're both
Guineas,
foreigners
yeah, we
here.
are. Yeah, but I think also that, like I said, that's also the beauty of it. That's why I love it down here. It's like a melting pot for many culture, languages.
Yeah.
You meet some interesting people and stories to tell. And
Yeah. Well, Hansi, we're going to take a break shortly, and it would be rude not to sample a wine in the second half because we have a kind of tradition, don't we?
We do.
Neither of us
We
leave
do.
Expat Radio sober.
Just one question. You said one wine?
Well, okay, one to start with.
Okay, then I agree.
So we're going to listen to Beverly Knight, Ain't That a Lot of Love, and then we'll be back in a few minutes. Thank you, Hansi. Welcome back, I'm Bill Anderson. If you can hear a lot of noise in the background, it's because we're doing an outside broadcast today with my good friend Hansi Støkken in his new Conrisa 2.0. And
Version 1.
version, yes. So it's 2.01, yeah?
Absolutely. There's still things to get in place. And
Yeah, we've been talking a little bit, Hansi, just about the reality of setting up this type of business in Spain, and it's not quite the sort of money making machine that people would like to think when they want to open a bar in Spain, is it?
I think, as I said before, I think that if you take something over that is running well and you just keep the same concept, obviously you should, keep going and you should keep succeeding. But opening up something new is difficult. It's very difficult. It inflicts a lot. One thing is opening it. You have to kind of define what kind of clientele you want. What are you trying to attract? What's your concept? Find a concept, be true to it. Don't be impatient. I mean, you know that as well. Like in La Cala, there's many empty places, and I've seen people open up and they start with breakfast, and then 1 month later they close for breakfast, and then they open for lunch, and because no one came for breakfast. Well, maybe after 1 month, if you're not in the right spot, you need more time. You need to be patient, and patient, like we discussed before, also demands funds. You need to keep your cool, and you if you have the funds, if you have the little extra, and you can, give it some time, you can absolutely succeed. But I think it's important to have a concept.
But I think you've hit the nail on the head here, Hansi. We've got well, not many bars in La Cala, but we have a few. But one of them is the Irish bar. Now, I don't know, Irish bars.
They just work as long as they're Irish.
As long as they're Irish, yeah. And David that owns it actually is Irish. But, that has a particular appeal to people. But, people open cafes that are just the same as the cafe next door. And not having, I don't know, something that's unique or something that's special to it, I think is like asking for things not to work. Because, why should I go into your bar rather than the one that I've been going to for the last 2 years if what you're offering is exactly the same thing?
No, I totally agree with you, and that's why I say I think you have to have a concept and be true to that concept. Obviously, then you can make adjustments. We have that. We started off with a huge, large menu, and I think at the time, for instance, I thought, okay, probably the majority of my clients will be UK citizens, Scandinavians. So I've bought the typical wines that we know from Norway, and no offense taken, they're not bad wines, but I bit by bit understood that there are excellent wines from Spain that not necessarily is sold in Norway. So we got all of those, and we saw that we kind of opened doors in other markets because we got more Spanish people. And
right.
So it's a trying and failing thing actually, and it's not easy. But like I said, I think you just have to have an idea what you would like to achieve.
Yeah.
And I think it would have to be something. Depending on where you are, but La Cala is not that big. It have to be something mainstream. I think it will be difficult to put up a very particular thing,
Right.
Maybe saying that we're just going to sell juices, for instance.
But at least it has a signature.
Well, it does.
And you know, whether or not that's what people want to buy into, well, that's another story. But you know, people open bars sometimes without a signature, and you know, they very often just don't make it.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I agree, but it's like you can sell juices, but maybe you have to have a foundation of something underneath there. You have to have baguettes, sandwiches, whatever.
Sure.
And then you can say that our speciality are juices, but of course you will have a baguette or a sandwich.
but there was a place not very far from where the original Cornisa was. It was called the Delicatessen.
Yeah.
And it was a cafe restaurant type place. But they had all the juices and all these fancy things and whatever, and then specialised in kind of wraps and things like that with really unusual filling, and actually did very well. They got out when COVID hit and decided it's time to move on.
Yeah.
But you know, Conrisa has its own signature, which are really two things, I think, Hansi. One is the exceptional food that you do now. It's not like silver service dining, but the combinations of food and the menu that you have, no one else is doing that. And the other thing is the fact that you know you go on your every now and again on your 2-week pub crawl around Spain, visiting every bodega that you can find, and bringing wines that are I don't know unusual or not readily available here on the coast. Yeah. So you know you actually created your own signature in that sense, didn't you?
We have, and I agree to that, and that's what we see for us that works. And you also see the kind of clientele that you attract, and so we found the right concept, and we kind of attract the clientele that we would like to have.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, and I think it goes for everyone. Like you said, you just have to find your way of doing things, but be patient. Don't be frightened or scared or nervous or depressed or whatever if it doesn't work out from day one. Like I said, just make sure that you can hold on for a while.
Hansi, that is an excellent sound in the background. I don't know if people can hear that, but it's a wonderful sound. It is the sound of pouring wine.
I think you got more than me, Bill. Can't believe it. It's always that way.
So yeah, it's you know you've done very much your own thing here, Hansi. But no one else. Well, people are trying to copy you. Well, because there are places now doing their own wine tastings and whatever. But I'm not sure that they're sourcing the kind of wines that you're sourcing.
No, but I think that is great, because that means we did something good that people want to copy, and I don't mind.
No.
Because on the other hand, it keeps us on our toes as well. We have a very famous, it's not that big in Scotland, especially not in Spain, biathlon. You know that, when you combine skiing and shooting.
Oh yes, yeah. We don't do a lot of that in
No,
Spain.
you don't do that.
No.
You just do the shooting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and this guy was the world champion many times, and every time he won, was it, how does it feel to be a world champion? No, world champion is something I was and can be. It's nothing you are right now, but it's something you can achieve again. So if somebody tries to copy our concept, we just have to improve and get even better, and we have to aim for that, but not going over the edge. Not like we try, we do some new dishes, and we try out new plates and wines, and like our wine tastings. That's always what I say, Bill. That's our filter.
Yeah.
Because if you have 35, 40 people, hopefully soon 70, and they leave a bit of wine in the glass, then you know that, oh, this is not for general public. Same goes for the food. Every now and then we put new. So start maybe with basic things that
yes,
this will work, and then try out and find your concept, find your shape of how to do things, and don't be afraid to do that. On the contrary, I think every evolution, whatever business, whatever there is, comes out of the fact that people dare and do something differently.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I had been, Hansi, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 times in the years I've been here to wine tastings. And the ones that I remember were a friend of ours.
Then you didn't drink enough.
Oh, I always drink too much at these things. But it was, they brought someone in with Italian wines. Mm-hmm. And whether I liked them or didn't like them didn't really matter so much as it was something different. It was something I couldn't nip down to the supermarket and buy. And this is what Conrisa has made its signature, is you will get wines here, like them or hate them. I mean, you know, wine is wine, you know. I mean, I'm Scottish, you're Norwegian.
Yeah.
We could drink for Europe, you know.
Anything.
But you know, you were bringing things that people couldn't get down here. And yeah, I mean, I think it's they say that imitation is the greatest form of flattery.
Yeah.
So when people are saying, "Oh, we'll do wine tasting, we'll do wine tastings," and I'm sure people enjoy them. Don't get me wrong, but they're not doing what you and Ruben are doing. Is going around Spain, actually drinking wine for 2 weeks to find which ones you want to serve over the next spell. You know.
Yeah, tough work, I know, but somebody got to do it.
Well, you do call it work, don't you? Yeah.
We do. But I think, like I said, people ask me, what is a good wine? And I say, a good wine is what you think is a good wine.
Sure.
And then I say, it doesn't mean that it does not exist better wines. Maybe you just haven't tried them yet. And I think that's very important to underline. Then certain wines might give you hangovers. Some, you know, there's a big range of wines. Many add sulfates, some add sugar, some add, and all this might change the texture or the taste of the wine.
Right.
And for instance, the small wineries that we work with, some years we maybe we don't buy from them. Why? Because that year was not a good year for them.
Right.
And they understand that. So maybe they just change their production and they make vinegar instead. Who knows? So, and I think. Be true to what you do, and that's what we do. So maybe one year we won't have this Alvarinho from Galicia because that year was not a particularly good year there.
Right.
And as you said, the same here. I mean, we had several times had the owner of the wineries that attended our wine tasting.
Oh yes, from Cadiz.
Exactly.
Yes,
From Cadiz, we had from Rioja, and obviously it gives a different feel. And like I said, sometimes we go when we test wines and they might produce 10 different wines. Maybe we kind of stick to 2 of them because the rest are like, but when they come out we always do 5 wines with their wines, of course. And the good thing about a wine tasting, even if you say that this wine is not you can kind of match that with good food, or as we say, you might kill the wine a bit with the food.
Yeah, but I think that's an important point, though, Hansi, that some wines is like a wines you can just open a bottle and sit there in an evening and just have a glass of wine. And some wines are excellent for that. Yeah. And I think that other wines are really designed more for drinking along with food. And you know, they may not be the kind of bottle you would open just to sit down. You know, I want to make people jealous that are not in sunny climes at the moment. You can't just sit down on your terrace in a spring evening at 25 degrees and just drink whilst you watch the sunset. Yeah.
Rub it in.
Oh yeah. I'm trying really hard to rub it in here. Dave is in France at the moment. And he said it's peeing down with rain at the moment, so it's really warm here, Dave. I'm really sorry.
Sorry, you're just on the wrong spot.
But you know, we've got a nice Alvarinho here.
It's tough.
And you know, we've got look at this. He's got a glass in there as well. But
that's water, isn't it?
I'm sure that's Ribena.
No, but yes, we do live in paradise. First of all, we do. That's why we have the tourism as we have, because it's a nice place to come out and visit. And if you can come here a week or 2, or if you stay here over the winter or whatever, it's nice to know that you can choose from a lot of different places to wine and dine. And I go back to the same thing as I did before. You have to be true to your concept. So if ever you think of starting up your business, don't be afraid. Just be realistic. Be optimistic, but be also realistic.
So Dave said that he's on a crappy rosé. We have a beautiful Galician white Alvarinho, yes?
That's it.
And oh my God, Dave, this tastes so good. Tastes so good. He's shaking his head now. So Hansi, you have your new. I think he's going to give us it now.
I've got to tell you, boys, this stuff's like drinking antifreeze out of the car. It's that bad, seriously.
Have you tried drinking antifreeze?
That scares me.
I don't know if a nurse has nipped into my house in the night and put a sample in the fridge and buggered off. I don't know, but
Well, if she has and it's rosé, you should be really worried.
no, I think I'm just drinking. I think it's vintage 3 months pregnant. The one I've just had.
So Hansi, your premises are beautiful, and Vicky's been taking lots of photographs for the podcast. We're going to show people exactly. What do you think are the immediate challenges that are facing you in your new premises? Because you're about 8 kilometres away, 9 kilometres away.
Yeah,
from
we
your
are,
previous
and a
location.
bit out. I mean, this would, what we say in Spanish, this would be more like a venta. And you know what a venta is?
A venta is a kind of roadside eating place, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, luckily we have done this for a few years, so we have probably, well, hopefully learned from our mistakes, and we've done a lot of mistakes. It's a learning curve. Challenges, obviously, it's to attract people that lives around here. Not only that, I mean, when we do wine tastings, we have people that comes from 30,
from all
40.
over.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sure.
So, and which of course is nice, but I mean, our daily menu is not that far away. You can come and have a wine tasting on a daily basis because you get good food with good wine. So it's just what you call it and name it. I think the challenge right now is to get the people living around here aware of the fact that Conrisa is here.
Yeah.
They won't know of us. They never heard of us. So it's like a fresh start.
Yeah.
Blank pages. But like I said, I'm not concerned. I'm not worried. Any free time also gives you time to think and dwell about things that you can maybe do differently and improve. And around here we already have a group of Spanish neighbors. They come in, and you know, it's interesting to hear their story because they were here when the last owner was here and the previous one, and you know, to maybe hear out what, you know, so why did it work, why didn't it work, what was good, what bad. And it doesn't mean that it's always like that, you know, gambas pilpil, which is a typical prawn.
Yeah, prawn with chili and oil.
And when somebody tells me, oh, I go to Malaga and they have the best gambas pilpil in the world, and I said, great for you. And so they kind of trying to convince us to change our pilpil. And I said, well, we're not going to do that because we have people that come here and said that our pilpil is the best in the world. So it's not a competition. It's a thing of finding something that people can come and choose from. And out of, same with me, I go places and they might have 50 different things on the menu. Yeah. And maybe 3 of them is the ones that I pick because I think they just do that so well.
Yeah, I would have to just add that things will be even better once the gas company decides to turn the tap and put your gas back on, or not your gas back on, but put the gas on in the place. Yeah,
we were actually thinking about just serving all, I guess, you know, pisu, you know, and just collect the gas and see if we could just, you know. But
I don't know how you're going to collect it. Methane.
But that's the challenge.
Yeah, but you know, it's pretty incredible for a gas company to say it takes 14 days to get the gas turned on.
Now, first day they said 4 to 5, and then they said 14. They just forgot.
That's because they didn't do it in 4 to 5. Yeah. I mean, how hard can it be to just open a tap and say, here's your gas?
But that's it, you know. Now, you know, Spain, you've been here many years, and it's like you expect the unexpected. That's what it's all about.
Yes.
It's not the rule, it's the exception.
Yeah.
But we will okay. I mean, we did wine tasting on Saturday, no gas. 40 people came. I think they all went happy home. Yeah. So everything is, you just adapt. And I think that's the restaurant industry is like you have to, like I said, you know, if 2 people are going to come in one day or 50 or 60, you kind of have to adjust to the circumstances, which also makes it interesting. Sometimes it drives you nuts, but it kind of keeps you on your toe because you always have to be prepared for the unexpected.
Yeah, yeah. So are you planning any major changes in the menu, or are you basically saying if it ain't broke, don't fix it?
Well, we will keep the menu, but we're going to do a few more add-ons as we now have a bigger kitchen. So we're going to do a few wok.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
And apart from that, for now, nothing more. So it's quite easy because you can just print the report of the till and see, okay, what have we sold? And if you do like in the last 3 months, for instance, and you see, okay, we only sold 2 hamburgers. Well, maybe we should find something else.
Yeah.
So there will always be adjustments, which it should be. All of a sudden, maybe another drink comes in fashion. I'm not gonna, some years, for instance, Prosecco was very
in mode.
In mode. We don't necessarily have to sell Prosecco if that comes on the mode, but we kind of like to be on our toes and keep up with what's going on around, and then we can choose what to do with it. But for instance, know Tinto de Verano, which is half red wine and half Fanta Lemon or Sprite, or the typical one, which is Casera.
Yeah.
Which we sell a lot of. We had Prosecco. No, we sell more Tinto de Verano. But then again, maybe Prosecco is for younger people. Our clientele is...
But Hansi as well, I think, and you're the restaurateur, not me, that there are seasonal trends as well. I would tend to drink more wine in winter and more beer in summer, and I would tend to sit down to a kind of hearty meal more in winter and a lighter meal in summer. So there probably are these kind of seasonal differences, aren't there?
No, as well. And for instance, we sell far more red wine and rosé wine in the summer, and then we sell more red in the winter. That's just the way it is. It's like you don't want a cold drink in the winter. You want, not that the red wine is warm, but it's warmer and it's stronger. There's more flavor to it. It's more like a winter thing than having just a rosé or cold white in the summer.
And unless, as you say, you're having it as a tall drink in summer with the either Fanta Lemon or something, some equivalent, or Sprite or some equivalent. Which is a tall drink, lots of ice in it, and not high in alcohol content because it's well diluted. Yeah.
But you can always, like I said, I told Malala we have to find a Conrisa cocktail or a drink. So we have to, back again to signature. So it's a world of opportunities. Those are the ones you have. Like I said, just be true to your concept. That's the base. It's like a chair needs 3 legs to stand. So the fourth one you can play with. You can.
Yeah. So So are you using the cartons of wine for the Tinto de Verano?
Don Simon, good friend. No, but actually, as I said before, for instance, when we make Tinto de Verano, we use a very soft, light red wine. Why? Because you can't use a Reserva, Gran Reserva, because that would kill whatever you put in there.
The refreshing nature of it.
Yeah, it would be too strong. So every wine has a purpose. If cooking, I'm not going to go into the kitchen with a Gran Reserva of 50 euros and tell Malala, can you make, No, it's not going to happen. Wine. So every wine has its purpose. It's not a question of that. It all depends.
Hansi, our time is just about up. Can I say thank you so much for joining us today? It's always a pleasure to sit down and talk to you about what you do here, and I'm sure everyone joins me in wishing you all the very, very best for Conrisa 2.01
version 1.
And I think you are going to do exceptionally well. Thank you so much, Hansi. Thank you to everyone who's been listening in today.
Absolutely.
Have a great weekend.
Indeed.
And we'll be back next week.
Make the most.